Welcome everyone to HAW Hamburg. The international office is very glad to have you here, and I'm pretty sure also all the teachers that selected you and your new classmates as well that you will meet during your orientation units. But my job is now to kind of give you information to enable you to prepare your stay and to be prepared for everything that might come up during your stay and before your stay, and that you don't have to collect all the information on the internet yourself, but that we gather a little bit for you, and then you can use the presentation after the session. I will send it around to go through it again if there is a topic that was covered too fast or something. So don't worry, you don't have to write everything down. I will send it via email, and then you can take your time and read through it. So first of all, I just wanted to quickly introduce you to the faculties we have. We have the Faculty of Engineering and Computer Science, the Faculty of Life Sciences, the Faculty of Design, Media and Information, and the Faculty of Business and Social Work. And like the last two, actually no, the Business and Social Work and the Engineering and Computer Science faculty, you guys are at Berliner Tor. So if you want, you can already Google where is Berliner Tor. You probably already did that, but if you didn't, find out where your campus is. And guys from Life Sciences, you're in Bergedorf, which is a little bit further away from the main campus, but it's, in my opinion, a really nice area to be, especially in spring and summer. It's really green. So yeah, don't worry if you're a little bit further away from the main campus. It's really nice there, and you will meet really nice people there. And you guys from Design, Media and Information, you are on campus Finkenau and Amgartstraße, which is like 10 minutes away from Berliner Tor. So basically it's also very close to the city center and the Alster, the River Alster. Okay, so then secondly, I wanted to introduce you to the services of the different units that the student center combines. So for you, first of all, you've probably all been in touch with the admissions office, obviously, because you had to somehow enroll to this university. And everything you have to handle concerning documents, concerning certificates, semester fee, everything that has to do with paperwork has to go through the admissions office, okay? So usually either you already know who your contact person there is, then you just reply to their previous mails, or if you don't, you just use the contact form that is here in the slide, okay? You can use the link in the slide. Yeah, that's the first thing, the very important thing. So please don't write me emails about semester fee or health insurance certificate or anything. If you want to just hand it in, just write my colleagues and then they will put it to your file, okay? Secondly, we have the Zentrale Studienberatung, the Student Counseling Office. They are basically there to advise generally on our study programs. I think that's an advice you don't actually, at the moment, you don't need because you have decided for a study program. But in case, like after 1 or 2 semesters, you realize, it's not the right choice, I'm unsure if that's really what I want to do, you can go to them and tell them about your thoughts and what is wrong about the program you chose and what your feelings are about it. And then they might be able to give you some advice regarding a subject change or a university change, or I don't know, a career change, whatever it is you found out about yourself after some time you've studied with us. You can go to them and discuss it with them. Also, if you have problems with time management, with self-management, already have some personal psychological problems, that's not a problem. You can go also to this team, to the student counseling office, and make an appointment with them and they will help you out, okay? So don't worry, you're not alone. So then we have the team Studieneinstieg, the team for like study orientation, it's probably called. They are giving tutorials for freshmen in some degree courses, so not in every course. So you can check out on their website on the link I provided if your program is included in their tutorials. But actually, you will find it out also in your orientation unit, so you don't necessarily have to access their website. It's just so you know that this team exists and they will be providing you tutorials during the semester. Most importantly, the international office. For international students, we are the pathfinder. We give you orientation, and if you think you're lost, you can contact us if you're not sure who to contact with your issue that you have to solve at the moment. You can contact us. Sometimes I will just write like one line and directly point you to the right colleague. So don't be mad at me if I don't write a paragraph back. If I see that I'm not responsible for your concern or for your inquiry, I will tell you just please write to this person, kind regards, and then, or I will directly forward your email, and then you will get an answer from a colleague. So that might also be the second option. Okay, so the consultation hours. This semester we have started the personal consultation again. During the pandemic, we haven't had those personal consultations, at least not without an appointment. But now at the moment, the international office has their consultation hours from 2 till 5 every Thursday. You can come without an appointment to my office, for example. It's on the second floor of Stiftstraße 69, where you actually had your meet and greet yesterday. And if you cannot make it on Thursday, you can also make a personal appointment, and I'll see where I can fit you in my schedule. So I always try to make it possible. If you have a really urgent thing to discuss or something, I'll make sure that you get an appointment. And the other units, they also have hours. For example, the admissions office. Let me just check. Yeah, the admissions office, for example, they have like almost every morning from 10 till 12. You can collect your semester documents if you haven't collected them yet, or if you haven't received them yet, which is probably true for almost all of you, because if you don't have a German address, you have to collect them. They don't send them to foreign countries. So you probably received a copy of your documents by mail, and you have to collect the original ones at Infothek once you arrive. But that's also something, if you have a buddy, that your buddy can help you with and explain where to go and where to get your chip card and all that stuff. But if you don't have a buddy, or if you didn't get in touch, or he or she didn't get in touch with you, I put the chip card office phone number here in the slide, and also the link to their website where they explain when you can come and get your chip card printed. Okay. And then if you are a bachelor student, you can use the link here to contact the admissions office. And if you're a master student, you can use the link here, because there are different teams for bachelor and master students. Okay. So just use those links, and then you will get more information about your contact people on the specific website I provided. Okay, so back to the international office. Probably you're all wondering, what do we consult on? Why do we exist? Maybe you're not wondering, but some people at HAW are actually wondering about it because they don't know us. As I said, we give you a general orientation. We answer, and we ask sometimes as well, general questions about study visa and your residence permit. So if it's really basic questions. If your case is really complicated, I will get to that later. You're probably better off contacting directly the Hamburg Welcome Center, which is like the main immigration office, I would say, in Hamburg for international students. So it's your first place to go if you have anything to do, or if you have to sort out something with your residence permits, you go to Hamburg Welcome Center. Just put in the word in Google and you will directly find their website with all the information, online appointment, address, and all that stuff. But if you just generally have some questions about visa and study of permits, you can also ask me. Yeah, consultation on scholarship applications. I will talk about it in a minute. Financial hardship situations, we will get to that as well. We can provide you information about intercultural events. Very important if you want to have a network at HAW Hamburg, get to know people, then I suggest attending as many intercultural events as possible. Language courses and language tandems, I will get to that as well. And as I said, we're your pathfinder. So if you're not sure what your path is at the moment, we can help you figure it out. And my team or my colleagues from the outgoing team, if you're planning to do like for a semester abroad, for example, you're actually allowed to do it, although you're an international student, but you can go, for example, on Erasmus to Spain or whatever, Finland, wherever you want to go. Then you can contact my colleagues from the outgoing student team. Okay. Oh, yeah. And if you feel lost and just need someone to talk to, you can also make an appointment with me and I'll try to do my best to help you out. Okay, probably one of the most important topics for all of you, which is why I put it in the beginning. The sad news is the international office cannot provide you with accommodation. So please don't write me emails asking for assistance in finding accommodation. I cannot help you with that. I cannot sit down with you and write emails to room offers or something like that. And I cannot sit down with you, create a Facebook search or anything. You have to do that yourself. It's in your responsibility. The thing I can do is provide you links, and I included some possibilities here. Provide you with links to different websites where you can actually find room advertisements and where you can also create a room search, the so-called Gesuch in Deutsch. So the most important website for accommodation is the Studierendenwerk Hamburg website. If you don't have accommodation yet, and if you're not registered with Studierendenwerk Hamburg, the first thing you're doing is register with Studierendenwerk Hamburg. Put your name on their list, okay? But don't rely on any offers that they might send you because you might not get an offer, but at least you're on the list. That's the most important thing because then they have your data. And once they have an available room, they might contact you. It might be in 1 month, in 2 months, it might be in 6 months. You don't know that, but at least you put your name on their list. That's the first thing. And then also look through their website because they also have short-term options. So also apply for short-term rentals, which is also an option if you don't have anything at all, which is probably true for a lot of you. It's a good thing to at least have something for like 2 months or 1 month or 3 months to go from there, to just arrive and then be here, sort out your stuff, start your studies, and then go from there. Use the weekends to go further and look further for accommodation. The same goes for WG-Gesucht. WG-Gesucht.de is the most important page for flat shares. So if you're not successful with Studierendenwerk, I advise you to look through the advertisements on WG-Gesucht. Most of them are in German. That's pretty unfortunate for you, but I know that there are some advertisements that are at least in both languages, or some are only in English, because there are some landlords who know, obviously, that we have a lot of international people in Hamburg, and they create their advertisements especially designed for international students. So look out for them. Don't be discouraged if you find a lot of German advertisements that you don't understand. Keep looking, and then sometimes you will find some English stuff as well. And also create a Gesuch. a room search on WG gesucht, where you post about yourself, about your maximum rent, your situation, what are you studying, what are your interests. Describe a little bit about yourself and then just tell everyone, I'm looking for a room. When are you looking for a room? And how long are you planning to stay in Germany, and so on. So write a little bit and then just put a room search on WG gesucht. Also use Kleinanzeigen, which is like a local page from eBay. Some people also post room advertisements there. So you can put in WG, housing, Zimmer, something like that, which I put for Facebook, right? WG-Zimmer, Wohnung, frei, gesucht, Hamburg, which are the key terms to put into any page where you are looking for rooms, actually. So the same goes for Facebook groups. You can use our Facebook group, the HAW Hamburg International Facebook group, to also post a room search if you want. I've seen that. I think at least 2 or 3 people have done that already, and I think some of them are already received some comments. So it's also another option that you can use. And then, of course, once you have arrived, use networks of people you get to know. Like maybe ask your buddy if he or she has friends, or a network where he can post your search. So use every human contact you have to kind of spread the word, and in the hope to find something. The more people you contact, the higher the chances that you're successful. And for your first weeks, I really suggest to have something safe, to book something on Airbnb, to book a hostel or maybe a hotel room. I know it's really expensive, but we are in Hamburg. It's a big city. The situation is really bad concerning housing, so you have to make a plan. Don't come here without having anything, okay? We don't want anybody to having to sleep under a bridge or something. So make sure you have booked something before you arrive, and don't hope for an offer from Studierendenwerk. Okay. Questions about accommodation. And I have to see if I get the screen that I see a little bit more of you. Nobody is daring to answer to ask questions. Okay, no questions. Or Nabila, am I missing any thumbs? No? Okay, cool. That's very rare. Nobody has questions about accommodation. But maybe you will after we're done with the session.
Well, okay. I hope everyone already found their housing then.
Wow, yeah. Actually, yeah, maybe we could ask a question. Who of you has not found accommodation in Hamburg so far? Thumbs up or hands up or whatever. Yeah, okay, so there we have some people. Okay. Yeah. More. Okay. Okay, take your hands down again. Who of you does not have a clue where to start your search? Okay. Oh, yeah. Some hands up. Steffi, you're not having a clue where to start your search, or did you just not take your hands down? Okay. Okay, so everybody has kind of an idea where to start, right? All right. In the email I will send with the presentation, I will also include a few more links that then are in the presentation now, because recently we've added some dormitories from other organizations apart from Studierendenwerk. So I will include them as well. I think some of you already emailed me about accommodation and received those links from me. So I don't know if you were successful, but at least it gives you some more options. Okay, so don't be desperate, but it will take some effort, a lot of effort. It will take a lot of energy from you, I know. I myself moved to Hamburg 5 years ago. I had the same issue. I mean, apart from that, I'm a German speaker. I didn't have that problem that I didn't understand the postings, but the same thing went for me. Like I had to write 1,000 emails. Actually, I moved 3 times already since I arrived in Hamburg. I started off in a flat share and now I have my own flat, but don't ask how I got here. Don't ask. It was a lot of energy and I'm glad I have something now, and I hope and I wish you all the best for this accommodation search. Seriously. It's harder sometimes than getting a job in Hamburg or getting a place to study. Seriously. Okay, so once you found a place, you are registering with the city. And only once you found a place. So if you are in a hostel or an Airbnb, you obviously cannot register with the city because you don't have an address. This means you don't have to worry, although you might have read something about 2 weeks period of registration, but this goes for the day when you have a contract, okay? So if you are living, for example, in a hostel for 2 months, then you cannot register, obviously, and you don't have to worry. Nobody will kill you. So the first time that you think about registering is once you've signed a contract. And also if it's a short-term contract, okay? So if you have a real contract that's like 2 months and you get a so-called Wohnungsgeberbescheinigung, which is the most important thing to know about registration. Because if you don't have that document here, which I put in red, Wohnungsgeberbestätigung, if you don't have that document, you cannot register with the city. And there are some places that are rented out for sublet, for example, that don't come with this Wohnungsgeberbestätigung. This means you cannot rent that place because you cannot register with that place, okay? I mean, if you want to stay in Hamburg illegally, of course you can rent that, but I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, ask the first question to ask, or after you know how much money you have to pay and the renting period. The third question is, do you provide a Wohnungsgeberbestätigung? And if the answer is no, you're not renting the place. Once you have found a place with the Wohnungsgeberbescheinigung or Bestätigung, actually that document you can find here under the link, which is the PDF link. You can go to register with the city and you can find out about all the procedure here on that website, okay? You can book an online appointment. It's really simple. You give in your details, you choose a place where you want to register. Sometimes it's not the closest place to your accommodation or to your address, which is not a problem. You can book like the earliest possible if you want, or you can wait depending on your own schedule. And then once you have the appointment made within the first 2 weeks after starting your contract, you're good, okay? The appointment doesn't have to be within the 2 weeks. You just have to make it within the 2 weeks. And if you have the appointment, you're fine. And then you just go there, hand in the documents that are listed on the website, and then you're fine, you're registered. If you have problems with all that, if you have concerns about going to the office by yourself, you just ask your buddy to accompany you, okay? And if you don't have a buddy, you register for the program and we'll try to find you a buddy. Okay, any questions about city registration?
Not about city registration, but if you don't mind me asking, Teresa, how long did it take you to find accommodation in Hamburg?
A few weeks.
Few weeks,
at least.
Right.
But it was in like before the semester start. I moved here in July 2017, which is not a period where people are actually usually looking for accommodation. But like the third time I was looking was in winter and it was a little bit harder.
I see.
So yeah. But yeah, so the semester start is always the hardest part. If you want to have it a little bit less stressful, you get some short-term accommodation and look again in December, January, because some students might have decided to change their degree courses or change cities at all, or changed plans, and maybe some rooms are free again during the semester. So this happens as well.
Thank you.
But don't worry, you'll find something. In the end, everybody found something. I haven't heard of a single person who hasn't found something within like their first, let's say within the first year of their studies.
Year.
But it might be that you have to move several times. My colleague who was replacing my other colleague who is on maternal leave right now, she I think she moved like 3 or 4 times already in her first year now. So just get used to having to move around a little bit. In the end, you'll find something. If you're here for a whole program for like 3 or 4 years or more, you'll at some point you'll have something permanent. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
Tina?
Yes, I think the thing that I'm going to ask is going to be your next on your list to explain next, but I'm just going to ask it anyway because I'm having this problem with the city registration with like a lot of other people. But the biggest problem for me is not the city registration, but the Aufenthaltsverlängerung. How to like extend my visa. And that's the biggest problem for me because if we don't have a registration.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, right?
Aufenthaltsverlängerung.
Yeah, you don't get the residence permit extended. Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem I cannot solve for you. I think the worst thing might be that you get a Fiktionsbescheinigung. That's usually how it's done. I'm not sure if Nabila has other experiences, but as far as I know, if you make an appointment and if there's something you cannot fulfill during that appointment, for example, the financial proof or the, let's say, accommodation, I'm not sure how they handle that, to be honest. But usually, like, they don't send student home right away. They give you a Fiktionsbescheinigung, which says that some documents are missing and they haven't made their decision yet, and it's kind of a pending situation, Fiktionsbescheinigung. And then it gives you like a certain amount of time that you have until your next appointment to fulfill the missing thing, the missing document, or the missing whatever it is. Nabila, do you have other experiences, or what do you say?
What you write is also my experience. So sometimes at the time, usually it's often happen in Hamburg because there are a lot of international students here. So when you got the appointment, your resident permit is already expired. So when you come to the appointment, you're going to get like this Fiktionsbescheinigung right away, even though your document is not fulfilled or completed. And then you get this Fiktionsbescheinigung usually is like 3 months. And during these 3 months, you need to submit the rest document. If until then you don't have that, then yeah, you need to, if you don't have the resident permit, then you need to leave to Germany, right? But usually, as a student, it's not that. I mean, like for example, the most common problem is with this deposit. Like you need to 10,000 euro right now to have 1 year resident permit as a student. But if you're working or if you get a scholarship, you can provide less than 10,000 euros. So like your contract worker or something like that. So yeah. Does it answer your question, Tina?
Yes, I had actually, I know about the Fiktionsbescheinigung, but I was a bit worried about like having a problem extending my aufenthalt here. But I still want to work. So if did you hear me?
Yeah, but we haven't sorted out your question yet. What's the question?
The problem was the Fiktionsbescheinigung. I want to know if I get the Fiktionsbescheinigung. If I understood it right, Nabila, that's if I go for the registration, I do get the Fiktionsbescheinigung right away. Is that right?
I still don't get the question, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so the answer was, or actually, I thought the question was, what do I do if I don't have accommodation and I have to renew my residence permit? And was that the question initially?
Yes, that was.
Yeah, and the answer from me and Nabila was, don't worry, make your appointment, go to the appointment, and then just let them know that you don't have an address yet, and you will get a Fiktionsbescheinigung. It's a really disturbing word, but it's just a paper that says that something is missing from the actual documents that you have to provide, and one of the documents is obviously some kind of contract or whatever you have to take there, a Mietvertrag probably. And then you just have like 3 more months, and then but you basically have to discuss it with the person who is responsible for you at the immigration office. They will tell you exactly how the procedure goes and how long the Fiktionsbescheinigung is valid and so on. I recommend, if you're really worrying, I recommend making an appointment with the Hamburg Welcome Center and get a consultation there. They are used to having international students, unlike the Bezirksämter. So there's like the Hamburg Welcome Center, and there's like the Kundenzentrum in your Bezirk, for example, Kundenzentrum Altona, Kundenzentrum Barmbek, and so on. They are not so familiar with international people. They might not even be able to speak good English. So really make sure you approach the Hamburg Welcome Center about your residence permit. Don't make appointments with the Kundenzentrum. At least that's my experience from 5 years working with international students. Most of them told me, I went to the Kundenzentrum and then I went to the Hamburg Welcome Center and great, everything was fine. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help.
Welcome. Okay, so then we go to health insurance, but really pretty quick because we have another session after that one by TK, which I would recommend everyone to join. And they will talk about 1 hour about insurance. So basically, I will just mention that there are different options. You have to have an insurance. That's the most important thing. You probably all know that because you received the enrollment information. Then there is a differentiation between students who are already 30 and who are not 30 yet. You're pretty lucky if you're not 30 yet, because then it makes your life easier to get into the statutory health system. If you're over 30, you need a private health insurance. The differences DTK will cover after the session, so I will not talk about it now. You can also read about it in the slides afterwards if you're not joining TK session. And if you have a private insurance, for example, you need to hand in a specific certificate at the admissions office. But if that's the case for you, if you're under 30 and you have a private insurance, okay, then you have to hand in that specific certificate. But I recommend not taking a private insurance if you're under 30. So I hope that nobody will actually have to hand in that certificate. And secondly, there are not so many private insurances accepted by the immigration office, because only actually we know of 2, which is the most important information for the people here in the group who are over 30 already. So if you are enrolled right now with a travel insurance, for example, that's like valid for 2 or 3 months, or I don't know what kind of insurances you choose or you chose. Once you're here, you need a long-term insurance. And there are only those 2, at least that we know of in Hamburg, so by the immigration office in Hamburg, that are accepted by the Hamburg immigration office, okay? If you move to like Schleswig-Holstein or Niedersachsen, it's different. But in Hamburg, they're really strict and they just accept certain insurances that have a certain coverage. If you have like a really cheap insurance, like say you pay 30 euros a month or something, it's definitely not the right insurance, okay? So I don't know which insurance you have, but a 30 euro insurance per month, it's not a long-term insurance that is accepted by the immigration office, and that's 100% sure. So if you do have such an insurance as a long-term insurance already, you need to change your insurance, okay? If that's the case, if you've bought something already that's long-term, write me an email and we'll see what we can do. But actually, you can also write directly to those contact people that I named here in the slides. Maybe write to both of them, compare their policies, compare the price per month you have to pay, compare what they offer for the price, and then make your decision. Okay, I'm not saying take Hans McHur or take Dr. Walter. It's your choice, but those are the ones that I know are accepted by the immigration office. Mavista, for example, is not accepted by the immigration office. We had a lot of problems with Mavista previously with other students that they had Mavista. They had some appointment at the immigration office, and at some point they found out, oh, my insurance is not accepted. And the worst case is, the really worst case that you can imagine, you voluntarily decide, if you're under 30, you voluntarily decide to leave the statutory health system and buy a really cheap insurance by Mavista, for example. You cannot get back into the state insurance again. Okay, once you decide yourself that you want to leave, you cannot enter it again. So don't leave the state insurance, okay? That's the most important thing for your whole program. If you're under 30, have a statutory insurance. More about it with the TK session. Okay, other insurances. In Germany, it's very common to have a liability insurance, a so-called Haftpflichtversicherung. I give you an example of somebody who didn't have that insurance. A girl who lived in a student dorm with 6 people. They shared a kitchen, and also usually they put stuff on the stove. And so she turned on the stove, but the wrong stove with the plastic whatever container on it. And she went to her room because she thought, oh yeah, the soup will cook without me doing anything. And then actually the plastic melted and there was some steam and the fire alarm went on. And the firefighters arrived because the fire alarm was directly connected to the firefighters. So they arrived, but they realized, wow, there's no fire. There was just somebody really stupid leaving the stove on with a plastic container on. It's just like an example. It cost the girl 1,500 euros because this is how much they charged for their arriving. Although they didn't have anything to do, but I mean, they were ready to do, and it has to, like, somebody has to pay. And if you don't have an insurance, then you have to pay. Okay, it's just an example. If you put coffee on the laptop of your roommate, for example, and your roommate says, oh my God, my laptop is broken and it's like 1,000 euros, then you have to pay the laptop. If you have a liability insurance, you don't have to pay the laptop. Okay, so that's just examples where you can save a lot of money. And as a student, they have really cheap monthly plans for liability insurances. So if you want to save yourself some troubles and us, because usually we are the first people you go to if you have such a situation, you save everyone some trouble. Just get a liability insurance, pay your €5 per month or whatever, and then worst case, you are covered. Okay. Yeah, and then there's a little video you can watch about liability insurance, which I really recommend if you haven't really understood why you need it. After you've watched that video, you will understand. Okay, any questions about insurance? I see that there's something in the chat. Scholarships we will cover later. I have work visa. I live in Pinneberg. Can I extend my residence permit? Anmeldung in Pinneberg, or should I?
That question I already answered.
Sorry, you answered that? Okay, thanks. Okay.
Yes. Okay, maybe can I say one, two words? Because I write in the chat that if you still have a question, you can ask me through the chat, and then like I got a ton of questions directly private on me. So to make it clear about this recruit station at the city when you arrive at Hamburg is that Hamburg is a big city, so there are a lot of different districts in Hamburg, which is like Pinneberg or Altona or Hamburg North or something like that. So first thing you need to know about that is if you live in Hamburg North, sure, you need to do the city registration at the Hamburg North district. But about the resident permit, sometimes the embassy, the authority at the Hamburg North doesn't have the capability to answer your question or to anything like that. So you can go to the Hamburg Welcome Center or the Kundenzentrum, what Teresa said before. So the Hamburg Welcome Center is not depend on where you live. So you can ask the question, you can submit your registration, even though you are live in, I know, Pinneberg, Altona, or something like that. Yeah. And as an experience, for example, to extend your resident permit, usually I live in Ottmarschen, it is in district Altona. So I have to do my resident permit in Altona, right? But because I didn't get any appointment at Altona for 3 months after my resident permit expired, I go to the Hamburg Welcome Center. And after I explain the situation, and then they give me the appointment. So I did my resident permit at Hamburg Welcome Center, and it's also fine. So yeah, it's a different type of authorities in Hamburg right now. They kind of doing it like a digitalization, which is there is only one website where you can get an appointment. And then if you put your address there, the website will give you give you the relevant, and which district are you belonging. I hope it's clear what I mean.
Okay, so there's like a small discussion going on in the chat. Please stop the discussions in the chat because there's like only assumptions of what to do. So, okay, the question from Preti was about the travel insurance and when to start the health insurance in Germany when you have a travel insurance. I think there's like no general answer. If you have a travel insurance that has an end date, of course, you're covered by that travel insurance until that end date, obviously. But if you have maybe an appointment before the end date of your travel insurance with the immigration office, you cannot go there with your travel insurance because they will not accept that, okay? So the most important thing is that you have a valid long-term insurance once you have an appointment with the immigration office. That's when you need it the most. And then secondly, for the people under 30, and you're here with a travel insurance, that's covered by the TK session. They will explain it in detail what you have to do. The thing is that you need to pay from September, although you might arrive in November or December, but the state insurance, you always have to pay from day one of the semester, the official semester dates. And this is September 1st. But actually, my colleague from TK will explain that a little more detailed once we get to the session later. So, For 3 months. Okay, so it might be that there's like an overlap. Okay, so that you still have your travel insurance, but you already, at the same time, you already have to start the state insurance. Okay, that's not something you can resolve in a different way. It's just the way it is. For the people who cannot get into the state system, who are over 30, as I said, you need to make sure that you have a valid insurance once you go to the immigration office and present it to get your residence permit extended. Okay, so that's the appointment you need to present a policy. That's not a travel insurance. Does that answer the question somehow? Yeah, hopefully. And if not, please join the session from the TK Insurance. I think they will, it's a 1 hour session. They will talk 1 hour only about insurance. So I think we can skip that now. Please, can you just ask your questions like telling us, because reading takes a lot of time. Embassy is asking for something like extension letter. Please contact your student advisor. I don't have a clue about a letter or classes, like everything that has to do with classes and your right to study at HAW Hamburg. You have to consult your student advisor, Studienfachberater, or course coordinator, or international course coordinator, but anybody who has anything to do with your courses. Unfortunately, I'm not involved at all in any academic stuff here, so try to find out who's responsible for you. It's usually the Studienfachberater, the student advisor or study advisor. You can find him or her on the department website. Okay, so make sure you make yourself familiar with the website. Everyone who is in charge of anything is named on the website of your department. Okay, right. So we had insurances. So next topic is student jobs. I think somebody asked about it already. As a student, you are allowed to work. Of course, you are allowed to work. That's the first fact to know. The second fact is you are allowed to work no more than 20 hours per week during the lecture period. And this is a regulation that is set by the social insurance law. It doesn't have anything to do with the immigration office. Okay, that's the first fact you have to remember. 20 hours per week. This goes for every student, also for the German students. Okay, and if they work more, they're not covered anymore by the student health insurance. So they need to have an insurance by their employer. That's the difference. Okay. But usually you should try to focus on jobs that are not more than 20 hours per week, because you're here to study. Okay. And secondly, by the immigration office, a regulation, you can work up to 120 days per year, and meaning full days, which is starting from 5 hours and ending to whatever is a full day in the company you work with. It might be 10 hours. So from 5 to 10 hours, it's a full day. If you work 4 hours, for example, it's a half day. So if you only work 4 hours a day, you can count it as a half day, and then you have 240 half days. Okay, the counting is your job. Make an Excel list or anything, write down the days when you work, write down the hours, and then count the days. And at some point, the immigration office might ask for a list, or they might not, or they might find out somehow. But you may have to make sure that you are having a list of the days that you work, that you do not exceed the amount of days you're allowed to work. Okay, so those two things are the most important things to remember. And additionally to the 120 days, you can have on-campus jobs. They do not count towards the days. So you can work, for example, for a pizza company, you can work the whole 120 days. or as a bartender, or I don't know what you want to work. And then you can work, for example, for the international office or for your faculty, for your professor, and all the work that you're doing there is not counted towards the days, but towards the hours. So you always have to make sure you do not exceed those hours if you want to stay in the student insurance that you have. There are a few exceptions which probably are not which will not be the case for you during the first year, maybe if you're at the end of your studies. But some students who are really successful in their studies, they get job offers during their studies from really good companies. I know that at least from some information engineering students, higher semesters, they get job offers, and sometimes they accept a job that is more than 20 hours per week, but then the employer has to pay their insurance. Okay, so you're not in the student insurance anymore. That's the thing that you have to know. And then you have to pay taxes, a lot of taxes. So you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. But actually, this information is probably for most of you not interesting at the moment, because you're starting your studies, you need a student job besides your studies, but mainly you want to focus on your studies. Okay, where to find jobs? There are different websites, of course, where you can find jobs. The most important website you have to know is that one, stellenwerk-hamburg.de, at least in my opinion, because if I go there in the morning, I see like, I don't know how many new postings. If I go there in the afternoon, there are even more new postings. So every day there are postings by everybody, by universities, so by all the universities in Hamburg, by private people, by companies. It combines everything. Okay, so if you're really looking for a job, take a day or two, take a weekend, look through that website. I'm sure there are some English postings as well, although the main website is in German. It's kind of the same with WG gesucht. But I'm sure you will be able to find something there. And also some others like Studitem, Jobmensa, Zenjob. I think those are Zeitarbeitsfirmen, where you are hired by the company and they kind of make sure you get jobs. Like they write you when there are jobs available. For example, when somebody is moving and you want to be like a helper or something, you want to help someone move, and it will post you this weekend, this address, you can earn, I don't know, $200 or whatever. So those are really like short-term jobs if you're interested in that. I know that some students, they live really well from those jobs. They don't have a long-term job, but I would recommend looking for a long-term job. It saves you a lot of energy in the end if you have a long-term job. And when you go to the foreigner's office, you might be able to show your financial proof through a long-term contract. Okay, so if you find a job and you have a contract and you have a certain amount of money you earn per month, it might be that they accept it as your financial proof. Okay. To start working, you generally need a health insurance number, which you will get from your health insurance, tax ID, which is called Steueridentifikationsnummer. You don't really have to remember. I mean, at some point you have to find it, so it's good to know how it's spelled if it's written on some paper that you receive from the tax office. But to get that number, you need to get it from the Finanzamt, from the tax office. You need a Sozialversicherungsausweis. You can get it from Deutsche Rentenversicherung. I put the link for you here. And after you have those three things, and you have worked maybe, and the year is over, it's pretty good if you submit a tax declaration, a so-called Steuererklärung, to get taxes back, even if you think you haven't paid taxes. there's still some stuff that you can get back if you have worked. It's pretty complicated and complex. This is why I put a link here from an organization who are offering webinars for tax declarations. They're in German. If you don't have any German skills, I don't know if it makes much sense to attend. But if you have some basic German, you can try to attend and ask questions in English. I'm sure they will be open to answer your questions in English as well. Okay, so I see the chat is full. I know that you have a lot of questions. The thing is that if you put the chat full of questions, I'm not sure if there's anything I have to answer or and it takes time to read. So maybe you could save the questions that you are putting in the chat all the time for the end of the session, because otherwise we have to read. Everybody is reading the chat and not concentrating in what I'm saying. So, okay, let's see, to make it bigger. I'm not sure who was first, but you guys know, whoever raised their hand first, please ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah.
My question is about the Sozialversicherungsausweis.
Yeah.
How do I get that? I can't click the link now from the presentation. And how long does it take to get it? Because my company asked for it, and I need to provide it.
Yeah, you have to request it through the website I provided. I mean, I can put the link in the chat later, but I mean, I will send the presentation and then you can use the link, and you just request it on the website and they will send it by post. But it might take a few weeks actually.
A few weeks?
Okay. Yeah, sometimes. It depends. Like, is this your first time in Germany that you have a job?
As a practicant, yeah, I had a job before, but...
Because actually, if you worked in Germany before, you should have it already. And they might have sent it to you already at some point. Because the first time you get a job in Germany, at least as far as I know, they send it automatically. Like for example, when I was, I think it was 16 or something, I had my first job, and it was sent to my address automatically. So if you're registered in Germany and you start working your first job, you should have received that already. But if you cannot find it, or if you cannot remember having received it, then you have to request it again. And that's why I put the link in the presentation, where you can make that request on the website.
And can you start the job without having the Sozialversicherungsausweis?
No.
Because I should start at 16th of September, and they just asked me for it 2 days ago. And
yeah, you have to sort it out. You have to sort it out with their personal service or whatever they have to for new employees. Tell them your situation. Tell them that you've requested it. Show them a proof that you receive via email that you've requested it, and then sort it out somehow. Maybe they let you start and let you hand it in later, but it depends on how their regulations are. At HAW, you cannot start working without this number, for example. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Ridwan?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine, I already have all the ones listed here, but I'm still waiting for the extension of my ERT, the elektronische Aufenthaltstitel.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got a job offer and I don't know if I can still work while I'm still waiting, or do I have to get that before I can work?
So do you have a Fiktionsbescheinigung at the moment, or what do you have?
I already have all the Anmeldebestätigung. I already have it. Okay,
but you haven't been to the foreigner's office yet.
Yeah, I've submitted the documents and they are working on it.
Submitted the documents. And did you get a Fiktionsbescheinigung?
No,
No.
I got a summary of my data and documents.
Okay, you should contact them and ask for a Fiktionsbescheinigung, because this they have to give you. If you don't, at the moment, if you don't have a valid residence permit, they need to give you a Fiktionsbescheinigung. And this actually your employer can accept it. So the thing is that some employers, they don't accept it. They don't know that they're allowed to accept it. So the thing is, you can tell your employer, I'm allowed to work with this Bescheinigung, but if your employer says, no, but we want your residence permit, there's nothing really you can do about it. That's the thing. The employers, they're sometimes a little bit reluctant to hire people who have only a Fiktionsbescheinigung, and there's nothing really we can do about it. But if you're lucky, your employer is understanding your situation and can still hire you. So you kind of have to sort it out with your employer and ask the immigration office for the Fiktionsbescheinigung. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, today I actually contacted them and they said I should still have a little patience. So the Fiktionsbescheinigung, I don't know, but they were not willing to send it to me.
And did you ask for it already?
No, I just told them I need it.
No, you told them you need the residence permit, right?
Yeah, and if there's
write them again and ask them for a Fiktionsbescheinigung. Tell them exactly why you need it. Tell them I have a job and I need a Fiktionsbescheinigung. I need to present something at my job.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Thanks a lot.
But have you been granted with resident permit at grade 1?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Have you been granted with resident permit before?
No, this is the first one.
So you're still, are you in Germany right now?
Yeah.
How do you get to Germany at the first place if you don't have any resident permit?
I have my visa. It's a 6 months visa.
It's a student visa or what is called?
Yeah, a student visa.
Yeah, some students get visas before and they come here with a temporary visa and then they renew it to a residence permit.
Okay, but at the 6 months, do you already have this Arbeitserlaubnis for 6 months?
I have no idea.
Because when you get the visa, you have to kind of paper like the card one, and there is like the green card where it says that you have allowed to work for 120 hours full time or 240 for half time.
I only have the visa stamped on my passport, which kind of states that I can work, but you know, some employers, I think they don't really accept that. They only want a ERT, you know.
I see. Okay, then you cannot work then until you get that, because some experience, if you have already granted a resident permit, the card and also this the green card that I said, like where it said like 240 or 120, even though your resident permit is already expired, you still can work even though you don't have the new one, because there's also some problem that I have and a lot of friends that I have. Due to a lot of requests to extend a resident permit, the embassy cannot give you appointment on time before the expired date, right?
Yeah.
So, but there is a rule like the gazettes. It said that even though you don't have the new one, your resident permit or your working, what is Arbeitserlaubnis of English?
Work permit.
Yeah, your work permit still able to use it until you get the new appointment. It stayed like that. So even though your resident permit already expired, you still can work. You can say that to your employee. Actually, it's also what I say to my employee when my resident permit already expired before I get the new one. But if you don't have at the first place, then you cannot work before you get the real resident permit.
All right, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chandrima, what's your question?
So my question is regarding health insurance.
Yeah,
So-
can we save it for the health insurance session with TK, please?
No, it's for private.
If
I am
it's
registered
private-
under private. Dr.
Ah,
Walter.
okay, sorry. Yeah, so
Oh.
what's the question then?
So in the arrival guide from HAW, it was mentioned that to enroll at the university, I have to submit the Befreiungsbescheinigung
Mhm.
from TK. Something.
You're over 30?
Yes,
Okay.
30.
Mhm.
So Befreiungsbescheinigung from a statutory health insurance provider. It was mentioned in the arrival guide.
Yeah.
So my question is, for that document, I have to first get my health insurance number from Dr. Walter, right?
Yeah.
Then only I can get the document from TK.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That's also a question you could have asked TK, but they
Okay.
can tell you about Befreiungsbescheinigung as well.
Okay.
But it's fine. We've sorted it now. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So my suggestion would be, since it's 2:45 and the TK session will start at 3, we will cover the next topic, and after that we will all together go to the TK session, and I will ask them to make it short. And I don't know if like any other students from other universities are there, but we'll all join their session, and after the session we will get back here to that session, okay? Because otherwise we will miss the TK session, and it's really important that you all hear about it. I mean, I'm not sure what they will cover because I've never attended, but I know that I'm not an expert on insurance questions, so I rely on their expertise, and I hope that they will tell you the most important things you need to know about the insurance, okay? So the next topic we will cover are the scholarship things. Nilesh, if your question is very, very urgent, you can ask it. Nilesh, your question?
Regarding the health insurance only, above 40, which health insurance should I do, or where should I meet for that?
I don't understand anything. At least, I don't know. Nabila, did you hear anything? No. Nilesh, maybe as an exception, post your question in the chat because we cannot hear you very well. And maybe, Nabila, can you try to answer his question, and I will continue with the scholarships.
Yes,
Going a little bit. Okay, so the scholarships.
My question was regarding the private health insurance. As I'm above 30, so where should I meet after arrival in Hamburg regarding the private health insurance?
I didn't understand. Sorry. Can you just post your question in the chat, please? That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe Nabila can help you in the chat.
Yeah.
So we can move on with the next topic. Okay. Right, so scholarships. Unfortunately, the bad news for the public health students here, the scholarships I'm presenting now, they're not available for public health students. Don't ask me why. It's a decision by the funders. So I'm just the one telling you that you can now get a coffee for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so for the others, we have excellent scholarships and scholarships for socially committed students. If you're a bachelor, you can apply in the 3rd semester. So you have to be here for 2 semesters and then good results. Actually, I will get to that. And master students in the 2nd semester. So for bachelor, the first time you can apply for our scholarships is next winter semester. Your deadline is the 30th of September 2023. That's the first time you can apply for our scholarships. Master students, your first deadline for the scholarships is the 30th of March 2023. Okay? This is the most important thing to know. Secondly, you need at least a GPA of 2.2 and as much credit as possible, because you get points for your grades and for your achieved credit points. Okay, so the more credits, the more points you get, the better the grade, the more points, and then the higher your ranking is in all the scholarship applications. That went for the excellent scholarship. For the socially committed, you need at least a 2.5, and you need to be committed in an international context at this university. And actually, we narrowed it down a little bit in the last semesters. We said that you need to be committed in some context in the international office. So, for example, you need to support us in the welcome weeks next time in March, for example. You need to support us somehow as a wee buddy also next semester when the new students arrive. Or you can organize some stuff for the culture cafe, or help with wee buddy events. So if you're interested in being socially committed, just approach me. I can give you some options, okay? And then you have a chance to qualify for that scholarship. And also for the excellent scholarship, if you have a 2.2, it doesn't guarantee you a scholarship, okay? Usually the scholarship holders, they have much better
Maybe
grades.
because
Sorry? Chandrima, can you turn off your mic, please? Thanks. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't guarantee you the scholarship. It just means that you can enter the pool of people, of candidates, who are then later selected and narrowed down by all the criteria. I said that already. And on the website, which is the website you should use to prepare an application before you ask any questions to me, read that website. There's everything you need to know. I made sure of that, I hope, at least. And there's an FAQ session as well, FAQ section as well. So make yourself familiar with the website. You need 2 letters of recommendation by professors. So it would be useful if you, from first semester on, start being active in your classes if you're interested in a scholarship, so that the professors remember you, that they know that you have interesting things to say during class and that are actually helpful for the class, or that are logic or whatever course you are studying, what you need to be active with in class is helpful for the scholarship. And yeah, interesting. You can get up to 1,800 for one semester, which is usually paid in different rates depending on the year. If you apply in the winter, the rates are probably paid in October, November, and December. If you're applying in the summer, they're spread out a little bit more until the summer. So, but it's like the maximum amount per semester, and you can apply each semester. And also you have to be in your Regelstudienzeit. So if you are studying a bachelor degree, for example, you can apply from semester 3 until semester 7. That's your Regelstudienzeit. If you're a master and you have like 3 semesters to go, you can apply in semester 2 and 3, okay, for those scholarships. Or actually for the excellent scholarships. For the socially committed, the Regelstudienzeit is not important. But everything you can read about in detail on the website if you're interested in a scholarship. Just read through it, prepare yourself, and then go for it for the next deadline. Okay, more about finances. If you have financial problems, you can approach us. But the thing is that you can, actually, if you have a financial hardship situation, which means that you cannot pay the semester fee, your health insurance, your rent. Those are the 3 most important things, at least from the perspective of the university. Then you can approach us, and then we can see if we can help you with a hardship fund. But you're only eligible for a hardship fund if you have completed at least your first semester and if you have some results. Okay, so you need to have some credits. so that the funders know this person is actually studying and not doing nothing at all. It's just a criteria that they value. So you've heard about it, and the first time you actually can come about that is next semester, right? The first semester you should all be covered by your financial proof that you have to show to the immigration office. Actually, the first year, because you actually have to show proof for a year. So we kind of expect to see none of you during the first year. But sometimes, of course, there are exceptions, and we're always trying to figure out something. Okay, so if you're really broke, you can approach us and we can see what we can do. All right. What time is it? Yeah. Maybe one more thing. The counseling office. If you have been to the meet and greet, you have this little paper here. You've had them in your body bag. They are the experts on all the stuff that I just briefly mentioned now, okay? Because I have like some knowledge here, some knowledge there, but it's all very general because I only have like a 50% position in the international office, and I cannot learn and study everything about all those topics. So if you go to the Studierendenwerk Hamburg, to the counseling center, it's called the BESI, BESI. They can consult on very complex topics. If you have a complex situation regarding health insurance, regarding visa, residence permit, special case, if you have children, if you have a disability, you can go there and roughly discuss your situation with them. They're the experts. They have an expert only for health insurance. They have an expert for visa and all that stuff. So it's their job only to do that, okay? They don't have to organize welcome weeks. They don't have to give out scholarships. They just consult on those topics. Okay. So, and then, the career service, and then that's the last thing I will cover now, and then we will join the TK session. Okay, so even if you're in the first semester, you should know about the career service because they offer a lot of workshops that are useful also for your studies and for jobs that you might have besides your studies. It's basically about self-development or developing skills in certain fields that might be useful on the long term for your future career, okay? So check out their website and their offers. I think they're really great. Sometimes they also have special offers for international students, so check out their site that they have specifically designed for you as incoming students. I put the link here, and you can find everything they have for you for international people. And your person to contact is, it was actually Lothar. I think it changed now to Johanna, but they will tell you once you write something to them. They can check your CV if you're applying to jobs, for example. Also to students' jobs, it's important to have a nice looking CV and a cover letter. If you don't know how to write that, or if you're unsure that your stuff is looking as it should look in Germany, you could consult with them and they can tell you what to change there, okay? They can give you a good advice. Okay, so much for now. I would say I put the link to the TK session in the chat. We joined the session because it's not a Zoom session, it's a different tool. And then we meet back at 4 here in the Zoom room, okay? I'm sorry if that poses some time problems for some people, but it's the only thing that I can think of right now, so that you guys don't miss the insurance session. And then those of you who are not interested in the insurance session, you can get a coffee, and then we meet back at 4 and discuss the rest of the presentation, okay? Chat. What's in the chat? Nabila, is there anything interesting in the chat?
So about the Nilas, what he want to ask before is about that he is about 30, so he needs a private insurance. So like, do we have any recommendation which one is the best private insurance?
The thing is, I don't know, but our car is not a private insurance, Nabila.
Oh, DOK, I mean.
No, our car. I will put the link. Our car is another state insurance. But I put the private insurance in this presentation, which I will send to all of you, and you can check the slide with the private insurances. Okay, after this day is over or tonight, you can take the presentation and look through all these slides that are interesting for you, and then contact all the private insurances or whoever you want to contact, right? I will stop the presentation for now because I need to look for the link. Let's see, where is it? I hope it works. So I will put it here in the chat, and I will just wait until all of you are actually. No, it's not working. Damn. Okay. How do we do it? Just a second.
You can reply to all in the email that you sent today and just send us the link.
Just a second. Link kopieren. It should work. I told them that we're probably going to be late, so no. Well, the thing is that it's a Teams link, and I actually, my computer opened the session, but I personally don't like Teams, but they decided to use it, so. Kopieren, Link. Yeah. Okay, let's see. It works now. Okay, try that one. Oh, it was a direct message, sorry. Alle im Meeting. I'll try that again. We'll get to it. Patience is a very important characteristic. Okay, so try to open that link, please. And let me know if you can open it. If you can, then we have a problem. Then we can move on with our presentation. But try to open it and see if you can join the session. Nabila, kannst du das mal probieren und gucken, ob du da reinkommst bei Teams?
Doch, wir können reinkommen, aber das ist von den Hosts noch nicht angefangen.
Echt?
Also, ja, sie meinte, dass es wird informiert, dass wir darauf warten.
Ah, okay, alles klar.
Aber jetzt kann man. Also, wir müssen reingelassen werden. Das heißt, man muss warten.
Ah, okay, so. Okay, warte. Ich gucke mal selber, ob ich reinkomme.
Jetzt bin ich drin.
Ah, super, okay. All right, so Nabila is already in. So once you're in Teams, you can leave Zoom and just click on it again once we're done in Teams, right? You can already get used to your studies. Some of you will probably have online classes. I'm pretty sure that not all of you are back to campus yet. And you will be working with Teams and with Zoom, so yeah. Okay.
If you click now, I can let you in.
Ah, cool. Okay. Ah, cool. Okay, somebody has their microphone on and is somewhere where there's traffic at the moment. Can you please turn off your mic? Thanks. Okay, I will wait until all of you are in Teams and have left Zoom to make sure that all of you are actually joining. Or if you're not joining Teams, then you can leave Zoom for now so that I know that everybody either left or made it to Teams. And we'll continue.